when you learned a new skill on the job. And with that experience in mind, answer the following questions. So let me give you a second to think about a time where you learned a new skill on the job. And if you can't think of one on the job, then you can transfer the question to a personal experience. Maybe learning how to mow your lawn. I myself don't want to learn that, but if you want to, you can do something like that. So, has everybody got something in mind? Go like this if you do. Good. Okay, so now, how did your OJ trainer help you? How did they hurt you? Did you get discouraged along the way? And what helped you get over the discouragement? I'd like you to turn to the person sitting next to you, a partner, and exchange and interchange about this. Any questions about what I want you to do? Go. Then the intrinsic motivation has to be even greater, right? Sometimes you learn it in spite of them.
Right, yeah.
Anything else that helps you get over discouragement? Okay, yes?
No, just piggyback what she said, your own sense of self-efficacy.
Yes.
But not everyone has that, and so that's,
not everyone does.
That's an important piece.
That's right. And you can't rely on that, and your on-the-job training infrastructure has to allow that might not be there in the individual trainee, right? So I ask you, how can you apply all of the knowledge that you have about receiving on-the-job training to giving it out to others? All the theories and all the infrastructure and all the articles and all that, it's not important to them. It's like, how do I use this today? Okay? How do I use this today? And so you always have to ask yourself, as you're doing the training, how is it relevant? They learn by building on what they already know. What do we call this in training? We have a fancy two-word phrase for it. We call it needs analysis. Needs analysis. What it really is what is your background? When you are doing on-the-job training, it is so personal. You're building a relationship with that person. Good. Did you uncover any helpful tips that would be good for anybody else? Keep these, yes?
No, I think everyone said it. I think if anything, be human.
Be human. Yep. Keep these two questions in mind, because as we go through the 4 steps, we're going to process with these questions for each stage. Okay? So let's go to step 2, which is the demonstration. Now, typically, people who have not been trained in OJT skip step 1 completely and go right to step 2. Oh, yeah, let me show you how to do this. Right? So we want to make sure that we train people to do step 1 first. Then we get to the demonstration. Now, before we demonstrate, we explain the complete task. Because we know we have auditory learners, kinesthetic learners, right? You've taken classes in that, right? All right? So we want to first use the auditory. We want to first explain the task. Then we demonstrate the task at normal speed. You'll see why in a minute. Okay? Then we're sure that the trainee can see and hear us. How many times have you had somebody, particularly when they're doing computer training, OJT, stand right in front of the computer like this, and you can't see a thing? That doesn't help. If I can't see it, sometimes I think it's a power play. Like we have in my office, we have these 2 cords for the Roadrunner, and lots of times the Roadrunner just dies. I don't know why. He gets exhausted. He needs a break. He needs Jack Daniels. I don't know. But, my husband will come in and troubleshoot, and he'll, hide what he's doing. I said, would you let me see what you're doing so I can do it when you're not here, It's like he wants to, We have to be able to see and hear. Be aware of that. Just like you do in your classes. You say, can you hear me? Can you see me? You do the same thing. The trainer provides corrective and positive reinforcement. Okay? Now, by this time, you've established a great communication climate with this person. So even if they're totally mucking it up, you can feel comfortable explaining that, yeah, that's the right way. Okay? the hardest step. You button the mouth. Why is it important to button the mouth? Even if they're doing something wrong, unless it's going to harm a patient or themselves.
They'll learn from their mistakes.
Yes, they have got to get, this is part of the responsibility piece. They have got to be able to start to troubleshoot their mistakes, because you're not going to always be there. This is the hard part for me, is to keep my mouth shut. You would have never guessed. And be quiet. The trainer answers questions as needed, so you want to encourage the trainee at that point to have the autonomy to ask the right questions. The trainer has as much time, the trainee has as much time as needed to practice. That you got to let them know. That, there's practice sessions now, we'll have practice sessions tomorrow, whatever. All the follow-up that Casey was talking about, that it's going to be there.
Looks good. Yeah, you're doing great. Let me know if you have any questions.
Yours looks different than mine.
Again, yours looks more like a stealth fighter. There are designs for things like that.
I don't think you're telling me what I want to hear.
Actually, that was more high-tech than